saves his anointed redeemer. Ya'anehu Mishmei Kodshe, he answers him from his holy heavens. B'guvures, with might, Yesha, of salvation, Yemine, from his right hand. Right hand is the side, hand of kindness. And Gvur is the side of might, the left side. Eile Berecha, here Hashem combines right and left, that his might should be with kindness. Might to the enemy and kindness to us. Eile Berecha, speaking of our enemies, some come with their chariots, their tanks. Some come with their cavalry, basusim. V'anachnu b'shem Adonai Eloheinu naskir, we come with the name of God on our lips. Hema karlu v'nafalu, they fell and they didn't get up. V'anachnu kamnu, we rose up from all our troubles. V'nisaydei, and we are still standing. In a war, that's what counts. Who's standing at the end is the winner. And we are still standing after 3,336 years. You know that? Of uninterrupted Jewish history. That's where we came from. That's what we're all about. We didn't just come because our grandparents got on a boat or hiked over land. My wife's parents were 2,000 years in the same place till they moved to Israel when it became a country. 2,000 years. We have a collective subconscious that comes from thousands of years of learning and davening and doing good deeds and standing up against all the trials and tribulations of our exile. And we've survived. We're still here. Mark Twain, great American writer, said, "We need no other proof of the existence of God than the fact that there are Jewish people in the world." The word Tzion, which means Jerusalem, yeah, Tzion means a sign. The Jewish person is a sign of God. That's why they hate us. It makes them feel guilty. Because we all have obligations to God, which are the 7 mitzvahs that God gave to all mankind. And people would like to forget about the obligations and forget about God. And they see a Jew and it reminds them there is a God. Why is it different? Why are these girls not dressed like everybody else on the subway? Why? Why do these boys go with sidewalks? Why do they wear a beard? Why do they cover their head? What are those strings hanging out? This is our uniform. Go to any store today. Store owner gives his employees a uniform with the name of the store on it. So we also have a uniform. And the name on our uniform is Jesus. We are people of Hashem. I don't want to belabor this point too much, because we spent already several classes explaining it. This beautiful parable or metaphor from the Zohar of the 3 circles interlocking. This is not for the Olympics. This is Zohar. This is Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. And the one point that I want to emphasize here is the relationship between these 2 circles. One level is hidden, one level is revealed. The revealed level of each one connects with the hidden level of each one. The revealed level connects with the hidden level, and the revealed level connects with the hidden level, and vice versa. The hidden level of each level connects with the revealed level, and it brings it into being. But also, the lowest level, the lowest point on one level is really higher than the highest point of the level below. So that it's like not just a chain like this, we could also picture it like this, like a link chain, so that the lowest level here is actually higher than the highest level of the next one down, and so on. So that the lowest level, which is revealed on each level, will connect with the lowest level on each level, and the hidden level on each level will connect with the hidden level on the next level, and so on. And they're all one. They're all one, because Hashem and the Torah and the Jewish people are one thing. Now, there's certain concepts we're going to have to come to terms with. We're going to have to get to know them. And we're not going to do it all at once. We'll do it little by little. Now, let's give out these sheets. We're going to take a look at them. This is an introduction to the Tanya. It was written by the Rebbe when the Tanya was, for the first time in history, translated into English. Here we go. Very, very important. In general, the Rebbe gets to speak about the importance of translation, the importance of communication.
There's only
one concept. What?
There's only English version?
There's only the English version?
This is in English. I'm asking if there's like a place that's in here.
I can't tell you. The acoustics are so terrible that I hear noise, but I don't hear words.
I'm saying, is this only in English? All good.
Can you find this translated into Hebrew as well? I suppose so. I never looked.
Okay.
I would imagine that in something like the lessons in Tanya, you might find it there in the Hebrew and the English. I think lessons in Tanya, they probably have it downstairs, volume 1. You look there after the class.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, we spoke about the idea that in Torah itself, we have many levels. We have the revealed level, we have the hidden level. The hidden level is the soul of the Torah. What's the soul of the Torah? That's the life within the Torah. Just like you have a soul within you, that's the life within you. Okay? In the revealed aspect of the Torah, there are also many, many levels, which in a way are like also hidden and revealed. For instance, the written Torah is the 5 books of Moses, and the history of the Jewish people, starting with Yehoshua, the leadership of the Jewish people under the judges and the prophets. And then there are the writings, 24 books altogether. But basically, when we speak about Torah, we mean the 5 books of the Torah. And the 5 books of the Torah contain all the wisdom in the world. They contain everything, like we said in class one time, about they are the blueprint of creation. Hashem looked at the blueprint. He followed the directions in the blueprint, like a good contractor would do. You don't just build a building without a plan, without all the details clear. So all the details are there in the Torah, but we don't always perceive them. We need teachers to teach us and to familiarize ourselves with these concepts. When you read a book of teachings of the Rebbe, especially answers that the Rebbe gave to people, the answers are always so obvious on a certain level. There are very deep, complex answers which are hard to understand because you have to be an expert in the field that the Rebbe is talking about. And the Rebbe, by the way, in parenthesis, the Rebbe seems to be an expert in just about everything, which is amazing. Because no matter who came to him, from which background, or on however high a level they were on, the Rebbe knew what they were talking about and was a step ahead of them. It's incredible. Okay. Now, in the Torah, however, in the written Torah, I'm telling you that all the details of life and creation are there in the 5 books of the Torah. the 5 books of Moses, as we call it. But to understand them, we need explanation. Like, for instance, the mitzvah of a mezuzah. What is a mezuzah? Everybody knows you have to have a mezuzah on the door. It's a Jewish thing, right? And that's how you identify a Jewish home, because it has a mezuzah on the door. In times of persecutions, Jewish people were afraid to have a mezuzah on the door because it would invite a mob. Who knows what they might do? And so they might hide the mezuzah in the door frame so that it's not immediately perceivable. But the idea of a mezuzah is you should see it when you come in, you should see it when you go out. When you go out with Hashem, you go out with Hashem. When you come into a place that belongs to Hashem. What's in the mezuzah? The unity of God. That's what the mezuzah declares. The unity of God. This is our message to the world. This is the message we live with. This is what we teach a child when he first learns how to speak. And these are the last things we're going to say when we give our soul back to Hashem. Hear, O Israel, Hashem is our God. Hashem is one. Just one. There's a woman who teaches girls. She's here from Crown Heights. She married Rabbi Leader. They moved to Australia. He's a principal in his school there. And she's a teacher. And she teaches girls before they get married. This is marriage counseling. But, a lot of marriage counselors usually are called in when there's trouble in the marriage. We try and avoid that by doing the counseling before the couple get married. And those are the Kala teachers. So she was a student of Mrs. Pape, and she became a Kala teacher. And now she took over. She teaches hundreds and hundreds of girls. She's very successful, and she has a very large family. In Australia, I'm told, if you have 4 or 5 kids, okay, you can tolerate that. 8 kids is already beyond. She has 15.
Wow.
So they interviewed her because she's very successful educator. She's a powerhouse of a personality. And at the end of the interview, the interviewer says, Mrs. Leader, Rebbetzin, how large is your family? How many children do you have? She was waiting for the question, obviously. She knew what they were going to ask because this is, outrageous in Australia, such a conservative place. She says, 1. I have 1 child. I said, oh, come on, Mrs. Leader. Everybody knows you have a very large family. She says, no, I just have 1. She says, how can that be? He says, because I have 1 Mendy and 1 Musi and 1 Hana and 1 Yossi and 1 Shmuli. Because every child is 1. So that's what we say, that Hashem is 1. Hashem is only 1. We do not admit, it's considered idol worship for us to think that Hashem has a helper, has a partner. Or that he allocated to other deities responsibility and they have independence from him. Nobody has any independence from him. You know what? People like, I remember I saw a play when I was a young man, just after my teenage years. It was a play by a French existentialist playwright. And it was a humorous play about 2 people who meet on a train and a man and a woman, they start talking, exchanging information with each other, and they find out that they're from the same place. And the refrain that goes through this place is, my goodness, how unusual, what a coincidence. Comme c'est bizarre. Anybody speak French? Comme c'est bizarre, how is this unusual? How unusual this is. Quelle coïncidence. What a great coincidence. What is a coincidence? There's no such thing as a coincidence. You know what a coincidence is? Coincidence is just a name behind which God hides himself. It's all just Hashem. Whenever a person says, what a coincidence, It's Hashem. But we don't want to really think about that. So we say it's just a coincidence. So that's one concept that we have to know. Now, this is the idea of a mezuzah. What is a mezuzah? I just told you one idea that's in a mezuzah, which is the unity of God, as opposed to any concept of plurality, that there are many gods. There's not one king God. The Greeks had a name for him, and the Romans had a name for him. And then there are lesser gods. And if you want one thing, if you want money, you'll pray to the god of success. And if you want a shidduch, you'll pray to the god of love. That's what the whole Trojan War was about, right? The ship that launched, the face that launched 1,000 ships. We don't believe in that. That's nonsense. That's pagan idol worship. And idol worship leads to all kinds of atrocities, terrible things. Let's not fool ourselves that the idol worship can be nice. It's not nice. First of all, it's an insult to your own creator. It's like a person is giving you life and giving you food and giving you clothing and giving you a home. And someone says, oh, how are you doing so well in life? How do you get all this? He says, I just made it myself. I worked hard. No, you have a blessing from God. There's a mashal that's given in the Torah, in the oral Torah, of a father who is going with his son. And there comes along a wild animal in front of him, so he puts his son in back. Come along problems from the back, so he puts the son on his shoulders. And then so he's carrying the son on his shoulders, and somebody sees them, and he says, did you see your father? He says, no, I didn't even see him. I haven't seen him in a long time. The father says, what? You didn't see me in a long time. He throws him down there. Let's see how you do by yourself. That is the insult of idol worship. That even as we are getting everything from Hashem, so someone like the German philosopher of the 1800s runs around saying, Hashem is dead. There is no God. Oh, yeah? Where'd you get your breakfast from this morning? Where'd you get your life from? Before I understood all this, when I was still a teenager, I remember seeing a cartoon. I didn't understand the cartoon so much, but it stayed with me. As a person, they make cartoons about wild kind of people who go to demonstrations carrying placards. Meshugoyim. So there's one Meshuggah carrying a placard that says Nietzsche is dead. The philosopher who went around saying God is dead, this guy was carrying a placard saying Nietzsche is dead. That's idolatry. And idolatry can be very cruel. We read about in the Torah these days about one of the idol worships that Hashem says you have to wipe out when you come into the land of Israel, called the land of Canaan. You know who Canaan was? Canaan was a person. Noach had 3 sons. Shem, that's our ancestor, our great granddaddy is Shem. Ham, his youngest son was Ham. Ham means hot-blooded person. The Yafes. Yafes means beautiful. Yafes is the father of the Greek civilization. The Greeks, who brought beauty into architecture and sculpture and literature and made wars. Made a lot of wars. And Ham did a terrible deed. He made it impossible for his father to have children. His father wanted to have children. Noach. His father was Noach. And therefore he was cursed. Ham was cursed. And Shem is our great-grandfather. Where was I going? Okay, I'll remember where I went. All right, let's backtrack. Where were we? I was associating one thing with another, and I lost my track. When you get to my age, you'll understand. Yeah, what did they do? The fourth son of Ham was Canaan. The fourth son of Ham was Canaan. And the descendants of Canaan conquered the descendants of Shem and stole their land. So that when the Jews came from Egypt and they came to Eretz Yisrael, which had been promised to them, to their fathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, promised the land of Yisrael. Yisrael is Jacob. Israel is Jacob. That's the name of Jacob, our father. This land was promised to him. It was captured and conquered by the descendants of Ham. They were living there, and we liberated it from them. It's been tough times since then. It's always tough times. The only time that there was really peace was under the rulership of King Solomon. After David HaMelech, King David conquered all the enemies of the Jewish people, and then Solomon ruled, and there was peace. And that's the only time there was peace. You know what they did? The descendants of Ham, they had an idol worship that's spoken about in the Torah, in the written Torah, called Moilach, to show that they loved this God called Moilach, and that they prayed to him for sustenance and for wealth, for all their good things. They would give their children to the Moilach. And the Moilach was a god of fire, so there are different versions of what they did. They would give the newborn child, or young child, it'd be a young child who could walk for 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, and give him into the hands of the priest of the Moilach. And the priest would take this child they would have 2 bonfires on either side, and the child would have to run through the fire. And the stones were boiling hot, and the child would get burnt. Sometimes the father, to show his devotion to the God, he would give the child, put the child in the fire. And they did things like that. Rabbi Akiva testifies 2,000 years ago that he saw once a goy tie up his father and sick his dog on the goy, on his father, and the dog ate the father. And this was an act of devotion to his God. They did terrible things. And therefore, for these abominations, Hashem warned us, do not investigate the ways of these people. They are sick people, and you should have nothing to do with their religion. You have to obliterate it. There's no room for this religion in the Holy Land. And if you're going to practice it, the land will spit you out. Like you eat something and your body can't digest it. The land of Israel is a very holy land. We have to behave in a holy way there. We cannot worship idols in the land of Israel, or it will not tolerate our presence there. So that's the idea of the unity of God that's in the mezuzah. But I still didn't tell you what a mezuzah is. What am I supposed to do? Okay, take this paragraph about the unity of God from the Torah, and the second one that's like it, the first 2 paragraphs of the Shema, and it says, on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Well, which doorpost? The right side, the left side? Am I supposed to write it with a pen? Am I supposed to carve it with a knife? Am I supposed to put clay and inscribe it in clay? What am I supposed to do? So there are hundreds and hundreds of laws of what makes a mezuzah kosher, what makes it proper, the way it's supposed to be. And all these laws, for instance, that it should be written on parchment. What is parchment? It's like parchment paper. No. Can it be a photocopy? Can I make a photocopy of a mezuzah and put it up on my wall? I checked the mezuzah once. I opened the person's mezuzah case. A mezuzah is not a mezuzah case. A lot of people don't even know this. They go to the department store and they buy a mezuzah. It's a mezuzah case. There's nothing inside. I opened the mezuzah case once. I was asked to check the mezuzah, and there was the Ten Commandments written in English. That's not a mezuzah. The mezuzah starts with Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, declaring the unity of God, and the paragraph that follows after it in the book of Deuteronomy, Devarim, which we just read. Where do I put, how do I write it? I have to write it with a quill pen, a feather. What kind of ink? Can it be red ink, green ink, blue ink? No, it has to be black ink. How is it made? A very special way from galmat berries, because they're very, very dark, and they keep their color. It won't fade. It has to. What is parchment? Parchment is the skin of a kosher animal. It has to be specially treated. Can I smear it with something that will make it easy to write on? No. Well, you could, but it's not good. It's only after the fact acceptable. How do I make the letters? Each letter has a whole set of rules about how it's made. Every single letter. And for this, a scribe has to study and learn and become proficient in writing it. Once I have the scroll written and I've learned enough that I know how to do it, my son is a scribe, Baruch Hashem. Several of my sons wanted to be scribes. Only one of them actually did it. He's now teaching. He's writing and teaching in the L'man Yilmadu series of classes for young men who want to. They've graduated, they have families, and they want to go back and become more proficient in certain areas of Yiddishkeit. He teaches them. This is his first year of doing it. He's very successful. Baruch Hashem. So once I have this mezuzah, what do I do with it? Where does it go? The answer is we need the oral Torah to tell us the answer to all these questions. It goes on the doorpost, on the right side or the left side. Which side is right? A doorway goes in, it goes out. Which side is the right side? Well, it depends which way does the door open. Let's see the door opens. So if you're walking in, that's the way that you go, the way the door opens. So the way the door opens, it goes on the right side. So it's going to be, if we look at it here, it's on the left side. Where? How high up? What about on the lintel? Maybe it has to be on both sides. It has to be only on the right side. In the upper third, you divide the door into 3 levels. The upper level has to be the upper level, like eye level, but in the lower area. And where in that area? So those people who are particular about how they do the mitzvahs, they say, if this is the doorway, okay, you're going to put the mezuzah, you divide it into 3. You put it here in the lower area of the upper third here, and it should be facing in, slanting in like this. That's telling us that the class is almost over. Someone's trying to call me. So you gotta conclude the class, and let me go. Here we go. Okay. And those people who are very careful about it, they say, no, this would be not acceptable. I want the whole doorpost to be protected from this point to the inside. If I'm, let's say the door swings open like this. So the door is swinging open like that. So I want the whole inside to be protected. So therefore the mezuzah is going to have to go here on the outside, starting from the outside point, facing in, so that the whole doorpost is covered. Because what's the function? This doesn't make the mezuzah. What is the function of the mezuzah? Put the shin on the outside like that. The function of the mezuzah is it protects you. That's not a reward. It's not a reward. If an accident happens and someone is hurt, and you check the mezuzahs and you find out that the mezuzahs there's a problem with one of the mezuzahs, it's not a punishment. Rebbe compared it to a soldier going into battle. He has a helmet. What's the helmet for? If there's a bullet coming his way, it hits the helmet, it doesn't hit him. Saves his life. And if he doesn't wear the helmet, is that a punishment that he gets hit by a bullet? It's not a punishment, it's a consequence. So similarly, the function, it's not a reward. Protection is not a reward of the mitzvah, that's what it does. Like when your brakes work on your car, it's not a reward that you pass the safety test on your car. That's why you have a safety test, so the brakes will work. That's an example of how we need the oral Torah to explain to us the laws in the written Torah. And another concept we've learned from this is called klal uprat. A klal is a general rule, a general idea. A prat is the details of this idea. A klal can contain a lot of details, hundreds of details. Like for instance, you're here in Crown Heights for a couple of weeks now, getting to know the streets. After you've been here a year, I said, someone will say, you live in Crown Heights for a year? He says, you know Crown Heights? Sure, I know Crown Heights. Can you tell me, what are the stores on Kingston Avenue at the corner of President? I used to walk by there every day. I don't remember. I never paid attention. Oh, it's a fruit store, right? Yeah, what's the store beside it? I don't remember. But if you walk by, oh yeah, of course. It's the hamburger, it's the bagel store. And then beside the bagel store is the Dream Burger store. And then after that is the ladies' dress store. Oh yeah, of course. Then further down is the grocery store. These are all the details. So do you know Crown Heights? Sure, I know Crown Heights. I lived there for a year. You know the klal. In general, you know the whole thing. And when we see something, we see it at one glance. But to get to know the details, we have to look more closely. That's a very important concept in Torah, klal and prat, the general rule and the details. So the general rule of the Torah is written, and the prat, all the pratim are in the oral Torah. Okay, we'll continue. We didn't get to talk about this preface, this Hakdama by the Lubavitcher Rebbe. We're going to do that tomorrow. Bezos Hashem, we'll get into the nitty gritty of the text, the pratim. Until now, we only spoke about clothing, about general rules. There are a lot of concepts that we're going to have to get familiar with. One very important concept that we've hinted about here is cause and effect. The relationship between a cause and its effect. Thank you very much. Oh, finish coffee that the girl was so kind to make for me. She was in the class last year. She learned exactly how I like a cup of coffee. Not too much, not too little, not too strong, not too weak.
Yeah, I know.
I hope you all remember to take a look up into the heavens this morning to see what's going on upstairs in the sky. To remember who creates all this. And the second thing I want to teach you now is something that you know already, but I want to emphasize it. And you'll remind me, because I forget like everybody else, is when you have something to eat, you have to say a bracha afterwards. And we are taught we should learn these by heart so that we could always say them, even if we don't have a siddur. But it's much better always to look in a siddur, even if you know it by heart. How can you remember to say this and not forget? The answer is by not getting up and walking around in the middle while you're eating. Don't eat walking around. You sit down when you eat, you don't eat in the street. Don't eat while you're walking,
Thought it's only bread.
drink when you're walking and things like that. It's not good, not healthy. And it's better to eat with yashvut, with a calm, steady way. Then you say a blessing, thank God for the food you ate, and then you go about your business. Lee, what were you said something?
I thought it's only bread that you cannot eat while walking.
Not good to eat. It's not good to eat while
Everything.
anything.
Apple.
It's not good. It's not. There's a nice way to do things, and there's not a respectful way, and not a respectful way. You have to respect the food that we eat. You're eating something, you're going to get life from it. So you have to respect it. And you have to give it kavod, honor, respect. And then it will give back to you life and energy and insight and inspiration. It makes sense.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But if you eat bread and you're walking from one place to another, you're not going to get sicker. So you'll survive. But you have to remember to bench afterwards. Sometimes people eat a meal, and they get up, and they go sit on the porch, they
No,
talk.
but this is like
They
bread, I get it,
phone,
because
or
you
they
have
work
to
on
do
the-
better
go to work, or they eat a snack while in the middle of their work, and they get involved in a project, and then they forget. Okay.
Yes.
So Lee, when I have a cup of coffee and I get all excited about the class we're teaching, and I get up to leave, you'll remind me, Rabbi, I'm gonna have to say Rabbi, I count on you coming close down.
Okay. Mom? Yeah, what about it?
It's like I'm using my finger. It looks like a needle. It's very like it's. Oh my gosh! Wow.
Oh, yeah. Hello. די לי כוח עכשיו. אני מתכנסת עליך בכלל. רגע. די כבר, אני עצמנית. אתה יכול לשלוח לי כל מה שכתוב שם לפרטי פרטים? Good morning. כאילו את כל הפוסט עצמו. נו, אני נותנת שיעור. טוב, תראה לי פה מה שאתה כתוב עכשיו.